ahead. Hi gang, sorry for starting a little late here. I had a sick puppy last night, so I was kind of up a little bit with her, but she's all better now, and I think she ate something, one of the bugs she is always looking for out there. So, before we get started on the project, I wanted to share these cards that I had come up with. Well, I didn't come up with. I have been going through my mother's things, my mother-in-law's things, my things, and before I threw these out, I wanted to show you that some of the things that we do and are making are not brand new. This was given to my sister because I never had mumps, but it was a get well card. And if you can look right here, it has the wheel, and in the little window you can pick what disease or what you want to say. Whooping cough, so you know this is old, mumps, measles, chicken pox, flu, tonsillitis, sniffles, tummy ache. Okay, and we're back to whooping cough. But I just wanted to show you, every now and then we come out with one of these, and I don't even know what to call them. But it's where a little, usually a brad, which I believe is right there, holds this little wheel. And then you can adjust it however you want it. The next one I found also had a peekaboo window and shows this cute little bird. And I know we've probably all done some of this, and look, it even has the little pop-up. So some of the things that we're seeing are not old, they've just been brought back as new. And then the last one, this is not film like we get today, like transparencies, but it's a see-through thing that went over the dress, like a mirror. And then you see the little girl on the inside. Now, if you don't have any of the transparencies, be sure on the photopolymer sets we have, they are stuck to a piece of thick transparency, and then there's a little flimsy one on top. I throw that one away, but I do save the others because you never know when you might need it. The card we're doing today is a pocket card. Let me mention this before I forget it and remind you that you are having lunch with Laura. I'm Laura Lee Collet from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and this month I celebrate my 20th year with Stampin' Up! I always have a host code, and there it is. You can find it on my website. And my website is stampinatthebirdnest.com. If you have questions, you can reach me at Laura at stampinatthebirdnest.com. And my YouTube, I think you can just put my name in, Laura Collet, and it's Collet. And then you'll come up with where you can see my YouTube videos. Okay, this little card here, I made this for one of my classes, and it is a very simple pocket card. This is where you would write it. It's mounted to a piece that is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, just like a standard card base. But I'm using my designer paper. So let's see what I came up with. This one The designer paper is cut at 4 inches wide. So that means you can get 3 strips out of a 12 by 12, which I always love. Then this little part right here, let's see, the measurement on the length, so it's 4 by 10 and a quarter was the original size, and that worked on this card. I folded it down 3/4 and put a 1/4 inch strip, and that worked great. Well, I wanted to use one of the sentiments from Sweetly Scripted, and of course I'm always needing birthday cards, so that's what I selected today. Well, as you can tell, the strip needed to be 3/4 of an inch, so it wouldn't have left any of the coordinating cardstock showing. So what I did was I went ahead and cut this at 3/4 of an inch, and then instead of leaving 3/4, I scored it at 1 inch so that it would fold over and still have this showing underneath. The insert, I'm going to have to look at this, is approximately 3 1/4 by 4 3/4 for your layer. Then your white piece is 1/8 of an inch smaller all the way around. I used our Country Boutique punch. I punched out 2 hearts. Now you do get leaves, which you could do in a different color if you wanted. But what I did was I wanted to use this pretty heart right there. And when I put it down, it didn't pop enough, so I went ahead and punched out 2 hearts, and this is our petunia pop. And then I just kind of wiggled them behind this. I hadn't even gotten them down all the way. But anyway, that made that stand up. And then that little baby heart, I just put on the inside. And that's where I'll write my note. And it kind of gives me an idea that if I write below the heart, I'll know that you won't see it up here. Now, did you notice when I put this in, I have not even glued the sides. This is one of that Jackie Bolas came up with, one of our other demonstrators. So you need very little product, and if you have a paper trimmer, maybe a punch and a stamp, that's all you need. So let's get to the bones of this, and let me show you what I've done. Here is the DSP. Now, I have to share this with you again because I absolutely love this paper. And keep your eyes peeled. I'm going to let you know about a special we have going on next week. So I'm using this paper again. Oh, and I did need to tell you this. I've already glued this down, but you can see that the flowers are going up and down here. So you need to pay attention to which way you're folding it so that you don't have upside down flowers. Of course, I've done that, nailed it, and nobody ever said a thing about it, so there's that. Now see, this is up and down, but if I cut it at 4, the flowers are going to be sideways. It's still going to be gorgeous. Probably no one would ever say a thing about it. But if you're one of those people that's very OBS or whatever, the OCD, You might want to pay attention to that. Now, this paper has no design, no up and down design, so it doesn't matter. And I cut this one at 10 1/4. I scored it at 5 1/2. And when you are scoring on DSP, be very careful. When I score on cardstock, I'll go back and forth a few times so that you can see the score mark. But you cannot do that on your designer paper. I'll show you what happens if you do. It'll sometimes, well, of course it didn't do it, but sometimes it will cut the paper. So be aware of that and just do it one time. So like I was saying, I scored this at 5 1/4. I think I said 5 1/2. 5 1/4, and then I scored it again for the little flap. I scored it at, it's 10 1/4 inches, so I scored it at 9 1/4, which gives me an inch to fold over. So here is the frou-frou on the front of the card, and here is your base. And I went ahead and just cut this one. I did this one the same as the first one. So if you wanted to do it like this one, you would just score it another 1/4 inch. So instead of at 1 inch, you'd scored it at 1 1/4 inches. This is a 1/4 strip that's 6 inches long, and all I'm going to do is tack the edges, the ends of the paper. So I'm going to do it here and here, and oops, then I want to figure out where it goes. Right in the middle, and then just wrap that around, and that's all the adhesive you need for this part. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down. There are so many pretty colors in this particular DSP, and in most of them, that it was hard choosing what I wanted to do here. So let's see. We've got that. And then I went ahead and chose the same color. This is Pretty in Pink that is going to slide in, where here there was so much purple, I decided to pull the Summer Splash out for that one. And then we've got, oops, that one wasn't shaved off quite enough. Like I said, you want it to be 1/8 of an inch around. So I am just going to trim that a speck. Oops. And put this here. Looks like the white needs it too. Oh well, you know there's a saying, measure twice, cut once. And that's always a good thing to remember. Okay, so that's fixed. And all you're going to do is glue this together. And of course, if you wanted to stamp or put some decoration on here, you'd want to do that first. Okay. Go. Now, I decided that on the inside, there's so many flowers here, I had this left over from a different project, but the colors still go because there's fuchsia and some purples and greens in there. So I'm just going to put this down at the bottom. And I'm just going to use my glue dots to hold it. So anytime you have extras, don't throw them away because you might find a use for it. I have a little box that I keep in my desk, and when I need a little banner or a happy birthday note, they're in there. But I thought that would be cute and it would add on to this. And you can leave this plain, or you could put your sentiment up here. Now, I've already done this together, so let's see how good. And let me show you a little trick if that ever happens. These sentiments are long. They're like 6 inches. And so it's going to go off the page. And what I'm going to pick this time is Speedy Recovery. Now, for those of you who have never seen this particular, let me clean this off. Well, where did my, I don't know where it went. Anyway, I'm going to use this and I'll come back and clean it off later. Maybe I already did. Okay, I'm going to set this right inside here. And I'm going to take out the one that says Speedy Recovery, which I think is this one. Okay, you need to get a block. It does this every Thursday. A cloud comes over. Okay, I'm trying to keep from getting a light on the camera so that y'all don't see that. All right, so here is your red rubber. And the easiest way to assemble these is to peel your label off and put it on a block. Now this is the large rectangular block, and it fits this just perfect. You've got a piece right here that needs to pull off, and I'm going to lay this down on here. Let me turn the other way. I got this out specifically so that we would feel cool while we were doing this. Okay, there is a split down the middle that's hard to see, but you're going to peel that off so that your decal is left on your block. The next thing you're going to do is turn it over and make sure that you've got it correctly upside down or right side up. And you're probably going to see my head. Let's see, because I want to get right. You can see the edges and get it perfect, if you can see that from the little sticky part. So you're going to put that on like so. That is so much easier than taking it apart and trying to put that decal on that little, especially something this skinny. Okay, so now we're going to put the, let me see, I think I'm going to use, no, that green doesn't go. This is close, so I'm going to use this because I have it out. Now, I want Speedy Recovery to be right side up, and I want it to go right there. Okay, now I've already mounted it to the back of the layer. So what I'm going to do is take a sticky note and butt it right up next to the white part. Another thing, you're going to have to be really careful about not rocking this stamp. It's so thin that it's very easy to get that halo around. I tell you what, let me get the pretty in pink. I'm going to get that to put my cinnamon on with. I think it will show up better. Okay, like I said, I had this little flower, so I went with it, even though the colors aren't exact. And I'm going to ink this up. I'm going to put it upside down. Sometimes that works for these larger stamps, and especially, like I said, you can easily get ink on the edges. So let's see how it stamps. Okay, speedy recovery. Now I want to be sure that I've got it right side up on a stamp. That's why I like putting the labels on. Okay, speedy recovery, and I'm just going to center it right here. Perfect. Now it did not get on the layered part. I'm going to put this right here, and there you have your card. Be sure to put your hallmark on the back. If you don't have a personalized stamp, stamp a little flower, a heart, anything. Put your initials and the year. I always put when I'd send birthday cards, I tried my best to get it towards their birthday so that they get the card right then. I had to give that up because I'm not often on time. So I just, when I do all my cards, I try to get them all together at the same time and send them. And I don't know where I was going with that thought, so we'll just say that's okay. So here are a couple of different ones, and then the one that I used for my class. I guess I ought to show them to you. So this one, I'll just cut, and I'll have the directions on the website and on YouTube. Then I cut some, this was a retired punch that I had that had flowers and leaves, and I just used GSP instead of stamping something. This one, remember I stamped the Designer Series paper heart and then came back with 2 of the cardstock. And that's, the color here is Petunia Pop. And I am finding that I'm in love with this paper and that color. And it's all great. Okay, let's see, what do we have down here? This was the card that I made this a little bit wider, made this sentiment a little bit wider. I mean this cardstock, so that it would, excuse me, the sentiment would fit perfectly without being too small. And on this one, we just put speedy recovery, and the more I look at that, the more I decide it does not go. But anyway, you get the idea of what you could do there. Now, if you are wanting to put like a gift card in here, something like that, you would want to put just a little edge of glue along here, or cut this down a little bit and use your tearing tape on the edges. Okay? So, I hope this has given you some good ideas for some quick, simple cards, things that you can, if you need to use up some DSP, which I probably think that is something all of us need to do. So you can use your designer paper to make lovely cards and do them in a flash. Sometimes I do cards that take me a long time. I'm not a simple stamper, but every now and then I run across something that is simple and that I just love. So I hope that I have shared something that you can use today. Please come back next Thursday. I am here most weeks. Last week I had a stomach bug that wouldn't let go. So anyway, I'm here as often as the Lord is willing and lets me be. Y'all have a great weekend. I hope that you're staying cool and hydrated wherever you are. Have a wonderful weekend. I love you, and I'll see you next Thursday. Bye.